Dr. Amanda Hayes stood at her station in Mission Control, her reflection ghosting across screens filled with data about the vessels darkening Earth's skies. The massive Zarkan warships hung like obsidian thunderclouds, their hull plating absorbing both light and radar signals. She watched as another ship joined the formation, its size dwarfing the International Space Station as it slipped into position with mechanical precision. "They're positioning their broadcast array," Amanda noted, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Around her, the control room hummed with purposeful activity, each technician and officer maintaining the carefully crafted illusion of a primitive space agency struggling to comprehend the alien armada. The main screen flickered, and the face of the Zarkan High Commander filled the display. Its segmented eyes and metallic scaled skin were designed to evoke fear, a species that had evolved as apex predators and spent millennia perfecting their intimidation tactics. "People of Earth," the alien's voice resonated through every television, radio, and communications device on the planet. "The Zarkan Empire claims dominion over your world. You have 30 planetary rotations to surrender your governments and submit to imperial authority. Resistance is not merely futile, it is illogical. We have conquered 300 star systems. Your primitive technology cannot hope to oppose us." Amanda allowed herself a small smile as concerned whispers rippled through the control room. "Right on schedule." She caught Colonel Martinez's eye across the room, and he gave her an almost imperceptible nod. The Empire's psychological warfare was playing out exactly as their intelligence suggested it would. Director Hayes, a young lieutenant, called out, maintaining their cover story perfectly. "We're detecting energy readings from their fleet. They're like nothing we've ever seen before. Record everything," she ordered, her voice carrying the right mix of anxiety and forced calm. "Every scrap of data matters now." What the Empire couldn't know, was that humanity had been studying these exact energy signatures for years, ever since they salvaged them from the crashed scout ship in Antarctica. The High Commander continued its speech, detailing the futility of resistance and the benefits of peaceful submission. Amanda typed a sequence of commands into her terminal, sending a quantum-encrypted message to the Mariana facility. Ultimatum delivered. Phase 1 complete. 3 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean's surface, humanity's real response to the Empire's threats was already underway. The massive underwater shipyards had been operating at full capacities since their sensors first detected the Empire's approach 3 years ago. Each vessel incorporated technology that the Empire believed impossible for primitive species to develop. Hybrid AI systems that thought laterally in ways the Empire's rigid programming couldn't match, adaptive hull plating that learned from damage, and weapons that took advantage of the very physical laws the Empire thought they understood completely. "Dr. Hayes," Martinez called out, playing his role. "The President is requesting your presence for an emergency briefing." Amanda nodded, gathering her tablets. As she walked through the control room, she made a show of looking worried, shoulders slightly hunched, brow furrowed. The Empire's sensors would be watching everything, analyzing human body language and reactions. They needed to see fear, confusion, and primitive defiance, not the quiet confidence of a species that had transformed their greatest weakness into an advantage. In the secure elevator heading to the underground levels, Amanda finally allowed herself to relax. "Their fleet deployment matches our predictions exactly," she told Martinez, "right down to the psychological warfare package." "Predictable," Martinez replied with a grim smile. "That's their weakness. 3,000 years of unchanged military doctrine. They think they're following a proven formula for subjugating primitive worlds. And instead they're giving us exactly what we need: time." Amanda pulled up the real data on her secure tablet. 30 days puts our final launch window right as the lunar eclipse begins. Perfect sensor coverage. The elevator doors opened to reveal the true mission control, a vast chamber carved into solid bedrock. Here there was no pretense of primitive technology. Holographic displays showed the status of humanity's hidden fleet, quantum communication channels linked to bases beneath every major ocean, and AI systems monitored the Empire's every move. "Let them think we're scared," Amanda said, watching the deployment progress. "In 30 days, they'll learn what humanity can do when we're underestimated." Colonel James Jack Martinez watched with calculated satisfaction as another experimental defense satellite tumbled out of orbit, ripping apart in a spectacular display of apparent incompetence. The Empire sensors would be drinking in every detail of the failure, adding another data point to their assessment of Earth's technological inadequacy. "Sir," Lieutenant Sarah Cooper reported, her voice carrying just the right note of frustration for any listening ears. "That's the third launch failure this week. The guidance systems just can't compensate for the gravitational interference from their ships." "Keep trying," Martinez ordered, making a show of running his hands through his gray-streaked hair. "We have to demonstrate that we're doing something, anything, to defend ourselves." The performance wasn't entirely for the Empire's benefit. Only a handful of people in the room knew that the apparent chaos around them was orchestrated. On the main screen, CNN broadcast footage of protests outside the UN, carefully staged to show a planet in panic. Representatives from various nations shouted accusations at each other, each blaming the others for failing to prepare for alien contact. It was a masterclass in political theater, every argument and demonstration designed to reinforce the Empire's expectations of a primitive, divided species. Behind his concerned expression, Martinez felt a fierce pride. Humanity had learned the art of deception, not from military doctrine, but from their entertainment. Every failed launch and public argument was crafted with the same attention to detail that went into their finest films and stage productions. His secure tablet vibrated. Martinez casually walked to his office, maintaining the appearance of a frustrated military officer retreating to collect himself. Once inside, he activated the quantum encryption field and opened the message. "Phase 2 assets in position. Pacific Fleet reports full readiness. Atlantic Fleet completing final system checks. Lunar Shadow Base confirms optimal launch conditions in 27 days. He sent back a single acknowledgement code, then checked the status of their latest failed launch. The debris field was perfect. Fragments of what appeared to be primitive rockets and satellites spreading across low Earth orbit. What the Empire's sensors couldn't detect was that each piece of debris contained microscopic quantum relays, gradually forming a web of undetectable communication nodes around the planet. A knock at his door preceded Captain Michael Reynolds, carrying a stack of paperwork that concealed a secure data crystal. "Colonel, the latest intelligence analysis from our friends upstairs." Martinez accepted the crystal, loading it into his secure terminal. The Empire's fleet movements were exactly as predicted, their ships maintaining formation with machine-like precision, following tactical protocols that hadn't changed in centuries. Their sensor sweeps covered every frequency they considered important, missing the quantum channels that humans had discovered by accident during the Antarctic salvage operation. "They're watching our social media closely," Reynolds reported. "Their AI systems are analyzing every post, tweet, and video, building a psychological profile of our species. The chaos is feeding right into their expectations." "Good," Martinez nodded. "Keep pushing the narrative. Let them see what they expect to see. A species that spends more time arguing on the internet than preparing for war." His desk terminal chimed with an incoming transmission from Dr. Hayes at the Mariana facility. The underwater base's quantum camouflage systems were performing perfectly to the Empire's sensors. The deep ocean facility appeared as nothing more than thermal vents and geological formations. "The final pieces are falling into place," Hayes reported. "Each failed launch has let us position more quantum relay nodes. We'll have full coverage for synchronized fleet deployment in 26 days. And the Empire? Still completely in the dark. Their latest intelligence report describes Earth as a particularly fractious primitive world, technically capable of basic spaceflight, but lacking the unity or vision to achieve true technological advancement." Martinez allowed himself a grim smile. "Perfect. Keep feeding their arrogance. The greatest advantage we have is that they've already decided what they're going to see. They're so convinced of their superiority that they're missing everything that matters. The secure screen showed the status of Earth's hidden forces, fleets of advanced warships waiting in underwater bases, crews training in virtual combat simulations, weapon systems that would seem like magic to the Empire's rigid understanding of physics. All of it invisible to an enemy that had stopped looking for surprises centuries ago. "Let them think we're primitive," Martine said softly. "In 27 days, they'll learn that humanity's greatest strength is being underestimated." Lieutenant Kate Thompson guided her submersible through the vast underwater canyons of the Mariana facility, the massive shapes of Earth's hidden warships looming in the darkness around her. Each vessel was a testament to human ingenuity. Sleek predators waiting in the depths, their quantum-dampened hulls invisible to the Empire's most advanced sensors. "Approaching Hangar 7, she reported, watching the massive pressure doors slide open. The space beyond could have housed a small city, and in many ways, it did. Thousands of crew members lived and trained here, preparing for the moment when humanity would reveal its true strength. Her submersible's lights illuminated the hull of the U.S. Prometheus, Earth's first true battleship. Unlike the Empire's rigidly standardized vessels, each human warship was unique, incorporating different combinations of technologies in ways the aliens had deemed impossible. "Looking good, Kate," Dr. Michael Roberts' voice came through her quantum comm. The chief engineer of the Antarctic Salvage Project had become the architect of humanity's technological leap forward. "How's the adaptive camouflage holding up?" Kate checked her readings. The Prometheus's hull rippled with patterns inspired by cuttlefish, its surface constantly adjusting to match the surrounding water. Perfect coverage. The Empire could pass within a kilometer and never know we're here. She docked her submersible and made her way to the ship's development lab, where Roberts was waiting. The engineer's workspace was organized chaos, filled with holographic projections of alien technology merged with human innovations. "Look at this," Roberts gestured to a display showing the Empire's shield frequencies. "They haven't changed their basic defensive algorithms in over 500 years. They found something that worked and stopped looking for alternatives." "Their loss," Kate smiled, watching the simulation of human quantum torpedoes slipping through gaps in the alien shields that only Earth's hybrid AI systems could predict. "How are the neural links performing?" "Better than we hoped." Roberts brought up another display, showing the revolutionary control systems that merged human intuition with machine precision. "The Empire thinks AI has to be either fully autonomous or completely controlled. They never considered a true partnership between human and machine consciousness." Warning klaxons suddenly echoed through the facility. Kate rushed to a monitoring station, her heart racing until she saw the cause. Above them, one of the Empire's destroyer squadrons was conducting a deep ocean scan, exactly as predicted by their intelligence analysts. "They're right on schedule," Roberts noted, watching the alien sensor beams pass harmlessly through their quantum camouflage. "Third sweep this week. They're being thorough, I'll give them that. Just not thorough enough." Kate accessed the facility's external cameras, watching the massive alien ships passing overhead. Their arrogance was their weakness. They were so certain of their technological superiority that they never considered someone might have found ways around their detection systems. A signal from Mission Control flashed on her screen. 24 days until deployment. Commence final system checks. Kate made her way to the Prometheus's bridge, where her crew was running combat simulations. Unlike the Empire's rigid command structure, human ships operated with flexible hierarchies, allowing for rapid adaptation to changing situations. The bridge crew worked in seamless conjunction with their AI partners, their neural links allowing for reaction speeds that would seem impossible to their alien adversaries. "Status report," she ordered, settling into her command chair. "All systems nominal, Captain," her XO reported. "The new quantum core is operating at 98% efficiency, well above projected specs. Adaptive armor is showing full coverage, and the AI integration is steady. Kate watched her crew work, each of them representing humanity's greatest strength, the ability to take different ideas and make them work together in ways no one had imagined possible. The Empire's ultimatum had given Earth exactly what it needed: time to perfect these innovations. "The Empire thinks they're being generous," she said softly, "giving us 30 days to surrender. They don't understand that humanity doesn't break under pressure. We transform. We adapt. We overcome." Above them, the alien ships continued their futile scan, never detecting the deadly fleet waiting in the darkness below. In 24 days, they would learn that their ultimatum hadn't conquered Earth. It had only served to perfect humanity's response. Admiral David Wells stood at the center of Strategic Command's real control room, 3 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains. The vast holographic display before him showed the positions of every Empire ship in Earth's orbit, and, more importantly, the locations of humanity's hidden forces, invisible to alien sensors, but ready to strike. "Final status report," he commanded, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Around him, the command center hummed with controlled tension as humanity's greatest gamble approached its climax. "Pacific Fleet reports ready," Colonel Martinez's voice came through the quantum comm. "All 35 battle groups in position. Mariana facility gates primed for synchronized opening. Atlantic Fleet confirms deployment readiness." Dr. Hayes added, 28 battle groups at full combat status. Quantum masking holding steady. "Lunar Shadow Base, locked and loaded," came the report from humanity's hidden moon installation. "All 217 ships ready for emergence. Dark side coverage optimal." Wells checked the countdown timer. 3 minutes until the Empire's ultimatum expired. Above them, the alien fleet was positioning itself for what they thought would be a simple show of force against a primitive world. Their ships moved with mathematical precision, following battle formations unchanged for centuries. "Let's give them their final confirmation of our primitive status," Wells ordered. "Launch the decoy satellites." On screens worldwide, humanity's apparent last-ditch effort at resistance began. Outdated rockets carried what looked like hastily armed satellites into orbit. The Empire's sensors would detect their primitive nuclear payloads, exactly what they'd expect from a desperate species about to be conquered. Incoming transmission from the Empire flagship, Lieutenant Jessica Parker reported. "They're right on schedule with their final warning." The High Commander's face appeared on displays across Earth, its expression radiating smug superiority. "Your time has expired. Your pitiful attempts at resistance have only confirmed our assessment. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Resist, and..." "Now," Wells commanded. Across Earth's oceans, massive doors began to open in the seafloor. The water above them boiled as quantum fields displaced thousands of tons of seawater. In orbit, the Empire's sensors suddenly blazed with readings they couldn't comprehend. Energy signatures that their doctrine said couldn't exist together. "All fleets, execute Emergence Protocol Alpha," Wells ordered, allowing himself a grim smile as humanity's true power revealed itself. From the Pacific rose 35 battle groups, their adaptive hulls shedding seawater as they took up perfect formation. The Atlantic sprouted 28 more groups, their quantum drives already spooling up to combat readiness. And from the dark side of the moon, humanity's largest force emerged, ships that had been built and crewed in absolute secrecy. On the Empire's command ships, alarms blared as their sensors tried to process the impossible. Human vessels were appearing everywhere, their technologies a mix of innovations that violated everything the Empire thought they knew about physics and engineering. "They're attempting to reposition," Parker reported, watching the enemy fleet's reactions. "Their formation is breaking down. They never planned for a 3-dimensional threat of this magnitude." "Of course not," Wells nodded. "Their doctrine says primitive species can only attack from the surface up. They never considered we'd strike from above and below simultaneously." The U.S. Prometheus, first of Earth's new battleships, took point position above New York. Its quantum fields pulsed visibly, a deliberate show of force. Across its hull, the adaptive camouflage shifted to reveal the full majesty of human engineering, a warship that was equal parts art and science, innovation and intimidation. Broadcast on all frequencies, Wells ordered. Let's give them our response to their ultimatum. He straightened his uniform and faced the camera, knowing his next words would be historic. To the Zarkan Empire, you came to Earth expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, you gave us exactly what we needed: time to prepare, and a reason to reveal ourselves. Your ultimatum expires now. Our response is simple: leave or learn why humanity has survived every threat we've ever faced. In orbit, the Empire's perfect formation had dissolved into chaos as they tried to adapt to a situation their ancient doctrine had never considered. They were about to learn humanity's greatest lesson: never give an innovative species time to prepare. Captain Rachel Morrison watched her neural display as the U.S. Defiant dove through a gap in the Empire's formation that shouldn't have existed. The alien ships, each the size of a small city, tried to close ranks too late. Their rigid programming couldn't adapt fast enough to her crew's unconventional tactics. Quantum wake increasing. Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez reported from his station, his neural link allowing him to process combat data at superhuman speeds. They're trying to predict our attack vector based on standard combat algorithms. Rachel smiled. Let's show them why that won't work. Execute Maneuver Delta 7. The Defiant's hybrid AI partner, dubbed Artemis by the crew, anticipated her command. The ship's quantum drive pulsed, using the Empire flagship's own gravity wake as a slingshot. They curved around the massive vessel in a spiral that the Empire's targeting systems couldn't track, their adaptive hull absorbing what little energy their point defense managed to land. Multiple targets targeting us, Rodriguez reported calmly. Their weapons are tracking standard evasion patterns. Time to disappoint them, Rachel commanded. Artemis, initiate atmospheric dive. The Empire commanders watched in disbelief as the Defiant plunged into Earth's atmosphere at speeds their doctrine claimed would tear any ship apart. The human vessel's adaptive hull glowed as it used the atmospheric friction to its advantage, bleeding off energy while maintaining perfect control. They're following us, Rodriguez reported with satisfaction. 3 Zarkan destroyers taking the bait. The Empire ships pursued, their rigid formations breaking down as they were forced to chase the Defiant into conditions their training never covered. Rachel's neural link showed her exactly what was happening. Their AI systems were struggling to adapt, trying to apply inappropriate space combat protocols to atmospheric warfare. All hands, brace for thunderclap maneuver, Rachel ordered. The crew's neural links allowed them to move in perfect synchronization as the Defiant suddenly reversed thrust, using the atmosphere itself as a weapon. The shockwave caught the pursuing Empire ships off guard, their shields optimized for vacuum combat failing against the pressurized air. Above them, the main battle was unfolding across Earth's orbit. The U.S. Prometheus led a charge against the Empire's right flank, its quantum torpedoes finding gaps in their defensive screens that only human-AI hybrid targeting could identify. From the dark side of the moon, Earth's hidden fleet emerged in waves, each ship using different combinations of technologies that the Empire's doctrine insisted were incompatible. Status report from Admiral Wells, Rodriguez called out. Empire fleet showing signs of command structure breakdown. Their ships are falling back on individual tactical protocols instead of coordinated response. Rachel nodded. It was exactly what their simulations had predicted. The Empire's greatest weakness was their inability to adapt to situations their ancient doctrine hadn't prepared them for. Each ship was powerful, but they fought like machines, not living beings. Artemis, show me tactical overlay, Rachel commanded. The AI compiled data from every human ship in the battle, creating a real-time map of the chaos they were creating in the Empire's formation. Where the aliens expected symmetrical warfare, they found themselves facing hundreds of different combat styles simultaneously. The Defiant burst back into orbit through a cloud of Empire sensor drones, its adaptive hull still glowing from atmospheric friction. Rachel's neural link highlighted 3 critical targets: Empire command ships struggling to maintain formation as human vessels attacked from vectors their doctrine deemed impossible. All batteries. Target designated points, she ordered. Artemis, calculate maximum chaos trajectory. The hybrid AI plotted a course that would take them through the heart of the Empire formation, exploiting gaps that appeared and disappeared in microseconds. No purely human or purely AI system could have managed it, but the synthesis of both made the impossible routine. The Empire thought technology had to follow rigid rules, Rachel told her crew as they began their attack run. They never understood that humanity's greatest gift is knowing when to break those rules. Let's show them what happens when innovation meets imagination. The Defiant accelerated into the chaos of battle, leading a revolution in warfare that would change the galaxy forever. Dr. Thomas Walker's hands flew across the holographic controls in Strategic Command's Weapons Development Center, making final adjustments to the Dimension Splice missiles. On his neural display, he watched as the Empire's flagship deployed its supposedly impenetrable quantum barrier, a defense system that had never been breached in 3,000 years of warfare. Quantum barrier analysis complete, reported Dr. Emily Nash, his lead researcher. Her neural link streamed real-time data from the battle above. They're cycling shield frequencies exactly as the Antarctic data predicted, overconfident enough to stick to standard protocols. Perfect, Thomas smiled, his fingers dancing through the final targeting calculations. They never considered that their primitive opponents might understand quantum mechanics differently. Lieutenant Chen, status of the targeting network. All ships synchronized, sir, Chen responded from his station. Prometheus, Defiant, and Excalibur in optimal firing positions. Empire flagship's crew probably thinking those are just standard missile locks. Thomas nodded, remembering the breakthrough that had led to this moment. The Empire scientists had dismissed humanity's flawed understanding of quantum physics, never realizing that Earth's different perspective would lead to solutions their rigid doctrine considered impossible. Initialize quantum tunneling sequence, he ordered. Let's show them what happens when you let physics think outside the box. Across Earth's battle fleet, special weapons arrays hummed to life. The Dimension Splice missiles didn't try to overpower the Empire's shields. They simply ignored them, briefly shifting through higher dimensions that the Empire's defensive doctrine had never considered relevant to combat. First salvo ready, Chen announced. Targeting solutions locked. Warning, Empire flagship deploying secondary barrier array. They think we're planning a conventional missile attack. Execute fire mission, Thomas commanded. All ships, launch on my mark. In orbit, Rachel Morrison's U.S. Defiant led the attack formation. The Empire's flagship loomed before them, its barriers radiating enough energy to vaporize a small moon. By all the rules of conventional warfare, it was untouchable. Missiles away, came the coordinated report from Earth's fleet. The experimental weapons streaked toward their target, looking like standard projectiles to the Empire's sensors. Thomas held his breath, watching through the fleet's combined sensor network. Years of research, countless simulations, and humanity's unique approach to quantum physics were about to be tested against the Empire's greatest defense. The missiles reached the quantum barrier and simply vanished. For a fraction of a second, they existed in dimensions the Empire had never weaponized. Their sensors registered nothing, their computers detected no threat, their crews had no warning. Then the missiles reappeared inside their shields. Direct hits confirmed, Chen shouted as explosions blossomed across the flagship's hull. Multiple penetrations of primary and secondary barriers. Empire point defense systems never even engage. On every channel, Empire commanders were demanding explanations. Their sensor officers reported impossible readings. Their shield technicians insisted their defenses were operating perfectly, and their weapons officers watched helplessly as more missiles phased through their supposedly impenetrable barriers. Send tactical data to all ships, Thomas ordered. "Full deployment of dimension splice weapons authorized. Show them what happens when you dismiss an entire species as primitive." Across the battlefield, Earth's fleet launched a coordinated strike. The Empire's rigid battle doctrine had no protocols for dealing with weapons that simply ignored their defenses. Ships that had never taken damage in centuries of warfare suddenly found themselves vulnerable. Admiral Wells is reporting total chaos in the Empire formation, Emily announced, her Neuralink streaming tactical updates. Their command structure is breaking down. Individual ships are attempting to modify their shield frequencies, but they can't adapt fast enough. Thomas watched as humanity's greatest gamble paid off. The Empire had spent millennia perfecting their quantum barriers, never imagining that a primitive species might find a way around them entirely. Their overwhelming technological advantage had become meaningless in the face of human innovation. "The Empire thought they understood physics completely," he said, watching another barrier fall to the impossible weapons. "They forgot the most important scientific principle. There's always more to discover if you're willing to question everything you think you know." Major Emma Richardson stood at the viewport of the U.S. Endeavour as it emerged from quantum jump near Proxima Colony, the first Empire world to openly declare its independence. The space around the planet buzzed with activity. Civilian ships repainted with freedom symbols, former Empire warships flying new colors, and everywhere, signs of a society transforming itself. Another transmission from the surface. Lieutenant James Parker reported from his communication station. 3 more colony worlds are requesting our presence at their independence ceremonies. They specifically asked for human observers. Emma smiled, remembering the Empire's dismissal of humanity as primitive insurgents just weeks ago. Now their victory had become a symbol of hope across hundreds of occupied worlds. "Put the colonial governor through to my ready room." Governor Kexley of Proxima Colony appeared on her screen, his crystalline features reflecting the light and patterns that indicated excitement in his species. "Major Richardson, thank you for coming. The latest data packets from Earth's battle have spread through our quantum nets. Every world with access to the feeds is studying your tactics, your innovations, your willingness to question authority." The Empire thought isolation was strength, Emma replied, noting how the governor's formal imperial dialect was already shifting, incorporating more casual expressions. They never understood that diversity, of thought, of culture, of approach, is what drives real progress. Her Neuralink pinged with an urgent update from Earth Command. Admiral Wells' face appeared in her mind's eye, his expression grave but satisfied. "Major, we're tracking massive fleet movements across Empire space. Their rigid command structure is collapsing. Colonial defense forces are declaring independence faster than their central authority can respond." "It's not just the military," Governor Kexley added, his own screens showing similar reports. "Universities are discarding imperial doctrine, embracing new theories our scholars were afraid to suggest before. Engineers are experimenting with technology combinations the Empire claimed were impossible. Your victory showed us that their limitations were self-imposed." Emma's tactical display lit up with new data. Across Empire space, quantum communication channels that had been strictly controlled for millennia were coming alive with free exchange of ideas. Species that had been isolated from each other were discovering shared dreams of independence. "Breaking news from the core worlds," Parker announced. "The Empire's Science Council just released a statement denouncing 3,000 years of doctrine. They're calling for a complete review of all technological assumptions." On her screen, Emma watched as centuries of Empire certainty crumbled. Their defeat at Earth hadn't just been military. It had shattered the foundation of their society. The belief in their own superiority, in the perfection of their doctrine, was dissolving in the face of humanity's demonstration that there were always new possibilities to explore. "We're receiving requests for technical advisors," her XO reported, scrolling through an endless list of messages. "Every major research facility in former Empire space wants to learn about our hybrid AI systems, our adaptive technologies, our quantum tunneling innovations. But mostly, they'd want to learn how we think. That's the real revolution, Emma realized, watching the reports flood in. Not our technology, but our willingness to question everything, to try combinations others dismissed, to see limitations as challenges rather than absolutes. Governor Kexley's crystalline features pulsed with patterns of hope. The Empire taught us that perfection meant never changing, never questioning, never adapting. Humanity showed us that true perfection lies in the courage to imagine something better. Emma's neural link streamed data from across former Empire space, ships being modified with hybrid systems, defensive installations being redesigned based on human principles, but most importantly, people of all species coming together to share ideas that the Empire had forbidden them from even considering. They thought their ultimatum would force Earth to submit, she said, watching the revolution spread across the stars. Instead, it sparked a fire of freedom that will never be extinguished. Fleet Commander William Harrison stood on the bridge of the U.S. Constitution, watching as representatives from 100 worlds gathered in the massive conference chamber of the newly constructed Unity Station. The space station, built in Earth orbit using a combination of human and former Empire technologies, served as a powerful symbol of the new galactic order. Quite a change from 30 days ago, Admiral Wells commented, joining him at the viewport. Below them, Earth shone like a jewel, no longer darkened by the shadow of Empire warships. They came to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they helped create something unprecedented. The chamber's quantum displays showed similar gatherings happening simultaneously across former Empire space. Species that had been separated by millennia of imperial doctrine were coming together, sharing technologies, cultures, and dreams that had been forbidden for generations. The last holdout worlds are requesting admission to the Concordat, reported Captain Rachel Morrison, her neural link streaming the latest diplomatic updates. The hero of the Battle of Earth had become a symbol of human innovation across the galaxy. Even the Empire's former capital is embracing change. Their universities are already implementing hybrid AI programs. William nodded, remembering the Empire's original ultimatum. They threatened us with extinction if we didn't submit to their perfect, unchanging order. They'd never understood that stagnation is the real path to extinction. Dr. Thomas Walker entered the bridge, accompanied by a delegation of alien scientists. Their excited chatter filled the air as they discussed new applications of quantum tunneling technology. The latest breakthrough came from combining proximate crystalline computing with our neural interface systems, he reported. Innovations that the Empire claimed were impossible are happening daily now. The Empire's greatest fear was chaos, a melodic voice added. Ambassador Kexley, formerly governor of Proxima Colony, joined their group. They imposed order through stagnation, never realizing that true stability comes from embracing change and diversity. The station's AI announced the start of the ceremony. William took his position as Earth's representative, standing among beings from across the galaxy. Each species brought unique perspectives, technologies, and ideas to the Alliance. The Empire had seen this diversity as a threat. Humanity had proven it was their greatest strength. The Galactic Concordat, William began, his words translated simultaneously into 100 languages, is founded not on dominion, but on partnership. Not on uniformity, but on diversity. Not on rigid doctrine, but on endless innovation. The quantum displays showed celebrations erupting across former Empire space. Ships of all designs and origins flew together, their crews free to combine technologies in ways that would have been forbidden just weeks ago. Research facilities that had been restricted to imperial doctrine now hummed with collaborative experiments. From Earth, humanity learned our greatest lesson, William continued. Our planet's diversity, of life, of cultures, of ideas, made us adaptable. Every challenge we faced made us stronger because we faced it together, each contributing our unique strengths. The assembled representatives raised their hands, tentacles, or appendages in unanimous agreement. The Concordat's founding document, displayed in holographic glory above them, represented something the Empire had never imagined. A union of equals, bound together not by force but by shared dreams of discovery. The Empire's ultimatum demanded our submission, William concluded. Instead, it revealed our greatest strength, the power to imagine a better future and work together to achieve it. They thought they were perfect because they never changed. We know we can become better because we never stop changing. As the document was signed, quantum pulses carried the news across the galaxy. The Empire's last ultimatum hadn't conquered Earth. It had unleashed humanity's gift for bringing people together, for seeing possibilities where others saw limitations, for turning diversity into strength. They came to add another conquered world to their collection, Admiral Wells mused, watching the celebrations. Instead, they gave us the opportunity to forge something greater than conquest, a future where every voice adds to the harmony of creation.